Hey, Daily Dosers. My name's Austin Payne, and I'm one of the high school pastors on the Vista campus. And today we're diving into Deuteronomy chapter 6. But my wife and I, we actually just purchased our first home and scraped every penny we had together and barely got approved for our first homeowner's loan. And the last couple of weeks have just been painting and demo. And last night we were sitting on the floor of our home, just kind of covered in paint, eating a takeout Domino's pizza. And we found ourselves just chatting about the good old days and thinking about 20, 30 years down the road, looking back on these times of staying up, till 10, 11 o'clock at night, working on the house and painting and dreaming and thinking about the people that we want to have over and what we want to do with the yard and all of these things, and really trying to figure out, man, how do we not forget the good old days while we find ourselves in the middle of them? And I love that God knows this about us, that we tend to be forgetful people that either long for the future or reach back to the good old days. Maybe it's the glory days of high school football or whatever it may be. And Deuteronomy chapter 6, kind of coming on the heels of the 10 commandments and then the Shema, where God says, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, with all your strength. These are my commands." He says, put them on your doorposts, talk to them with your children, because he knows that we tend to be forgetful. And he even kind of takes it a step further down in Verse 10, where he says, when the Lord your God, he brings you into the land that he swore to your fathers. When in this land that I promised you, there's these houses that are filled with all kinds of good things, and there's wells that you didn't dig, and there's vineyards and olive groves that you didn't plant. And when you eat and you're satisfied, people of Israel, be careful that you don't forget the Lord your God who brought you out of Egypt, who brought you out of the land of slavery. He knows that when we kind of get comfortable, when we settle in, we tend to be forgetful people. And I love, if we just fast forward a couple of chapters in scripture to Joshua chapter 4, there's this beautiful moment where the people of Israel are crossing over the Jordan River. And it says that it's in flood stage, which means that it would have been 20, 30 feet wide, about 5 or 6 feet deep. And almost as this throwback, God dries up, he shores up this portion of the Jordan River for the people of Israel to cross over. And it's this throwback to the Red Sea, when God originally delivered the Israelites out of the hand of the nation of Israel and away from the armies of the nation of Egypt. And there's this moment where God says, hey, I want you to pause right here, right now. Just press the pause button. Pick up 12 stones in the middle of this river. Set them up on the other side of the river as this Ebenezer, this stone of help, that when your children's children, when generations from now ask, why are these stones here? That you would actively remember and go, these stones are here so that we won't forget that it was God who delivered us. It was God that was present right here, right now, that he's the one that delivered us out of Israel. He's the one that gave us this land. He's the one that allowed us to cross into this land in the first place. And I think God challenges us all throughout Scripture to give us these things that would be reminders, whether it be baptism or whether it be the Lord's Supper, this bread and this wine that God has given us to say, remember who I am. He knows that we have a tendency to be people that long for the future or look back to the past and often can forget the hand of the Lord right here, right now. So what we did, we actually snapped a little bit of a Polaroid photo. And in the midst of the house not looking good and paint being mismatched colors and cabinets off the walls and unswept floors, we just snapped a picture to go, these are the good old days. That I don't want to just remember these 30 years from now and go, man, that was it. But I want to put that Polaroid photo up in my house and go, how can I be thankful today for the provision of the hand of the Lord, and say, man, it is God who gave us this day. It is God who gave the very breath that I breathe. It's God that has provided us with today. And I don't want to long for the future or look to the past. I want to remember the hand of the Lord today, actively present. So my challenge for you is, what's your Ebenezer? What's that stone of help? What's that thing that you can set up? And maybe it's a taped Bible verse to a mirror or something on your steering wheel, just something that you'll see every single day that you can look at and remember God's present. He's here. He desires relationship. He wants to walk with me through today. So whether everything's going exactly how it's supposed to, or everything's kind of a mess right now, that we would remember God's presence with us right here, right now, because he knows we're forgetful and he calls us to remember. Thanks, Daily Dosers. We'll see you tomorrow.